Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, if you're new, we will start covering ZCASH consistently. If you guys want it, right? If there's a decent amount of views and support, then I will be covering it as, that means there's a decent amount of demand. Listen, this thing has gone up drastically over the year, especially, let's just say, near the middle to end of September. We can see in the middle of September, we're at 810 million market cap. And then kind of when we got to the very end of September, we started to rise dramatically and we got up all the way to over 11 billion in market cap in a span of roughly, let's just say 2 months, right? So that's very, very good. Very, very nice. We can see over the last month, we are up 140%. In the last week, we are down 1.37%. And in the last, 24 hours, we're down 16%. Now, here's the thing. We are going to be talking about potential reversal signs, and also Zcash is going to be hitting that big $1,000 by the end of the year. Listen, when we go and look at Zcash, right, we can see, like, once again, it's pretty much near the end of September where we start to really, really rise. And we have been consistently pumping for, let's just say, I mean, if you really want to count the stop, for 35 days. The last 7 days prior to this week were kind of sideways, did go up a little bit. And then these last 7 days have been kind of a sell-off. Now, here is the deal, people. All right. Will Zcash hit $1,000 by the end of the year? In my opinion, no. Now you might be, getting ready to throw your tomatoes and be like, no, you're dumb, you're this, you're this. Listen, just listen to the information I'm going to tell you over the next 1 to 2 minutes, and you can reflect on it and make your own choice. Okay. All I'm going to say is, for many, many times, I've been right with reversals, and I'm going to explain to you why I believe that Zcash could possibly be reversing soon. First off, right, Zcash has gone into an institutional candle. We can see right over here on the left side, we have tapped into a weekly institutional candle. Very, very big candle. And we can see historically, when we tap into institutional candles, we start seeing sell-offs. So we've seen it in the past on a smaller scale, where Zcash kind of went up in 2021, right? And then it had a second pump at the end of 2021, and then a third one, the final one, in March, and then it sold off, right? If we look at literally the same type of candles, we can see, boom, we went in it once, boom, we sold off in it again, right? Boom, this candle over here, zoom it in a little bit, this one right here, so we do something like this, right? We can see we tapped into it and then we sold off. Okay, so first institutional candles here, we tapped into it, boom, we closed as a lower high, right? If we go and look at something like this, we have a weekly high here, lower high and lower high. All the swing points were consistently lower, and then we sold off. When we go and look and zoom out, we are literally creating the exact same thing, okay? The exact same thing, where we have an institutional candle here, and we just tapped into it, and we can see we are already selling off. When we go and look at the monthly candles, we can see, as of right now, even though we are higher, there's still, roughly 10 days in the month left. We do have a higher high, right? Because this is a high for the monthly, and we do have a higher high at this current moment, but it doesn't take much to go back down to something that's lower, right? We will be looking at that. We will be monitoring that. We can also see, if we were to just look at the structure and try to go to $1,000, that is a nice psychological area. Now, some investors might be expecting that, but when everyone expects that, usually, right, price starts dumping earlier, because people think, okay, you know what, 950 is good enough. 900 is good enough. 930 is good enough. It's just how it is, because everyone wants to sell at 1,000. Usually there's some sneaky people and in institutions that are like, you know what, we're going to start selling off earlier. In terms of pure liquidity sweeps, we do have a high right over here at pretty much, let's just say, $900. So for the market makers, they could, in theory, come back up sweep this liquidity, and then just simply go back down and correct itself. Okay. Remember, this is not the first time Zcash has seen massive pumps. Usually, when it has massive pumps and it taps into an institutional candle, which, by the way, this one over here also tapped into this weekly institutional candle right here, we can see it kind of sells off quickly, right? It sells off quickly, does its thing, comes back up, sells off quickly, does its thing, sells off quickly, right? So just be wary of that. Just be wary of that. Remember, overall, the crypto markets are getting wrecked. This type of pump during this time is an anomaly pump. Okay. Look at something like Caspa. This thing has been going down consistently. Look at something like Exion, has been going down consistently. Render consistently down. ICP, ICP also had an anomaly pump. So this can actually relate more to Zcash, right? It pumped up all the way to almost $10. I personally got in roughly around 220, 230. I got a little bit over $7. I made a quick flip and we can see already it's back down. AKT is down a good amount. DIA is down a good amount. ZBEC is down a good amount. We can see Bitcoin is down drastically, right? Boom, Bitcoin in the last, let's just say roughly 4 weeks has gone down 30%, roughly $35,000 to $36,000. So remember, this type of pump can be very short-lived considering that the whole entire market is struggling. Okay, the whole entire market is struggling, and we just tapped into institutional candles. So I just want to put that out there, right? You have to make your own choice at the end of the day. But personally, right, if I was buying somewhere down here and I went from $40 to, let's say, even right now, 575, I think objectively speaking, that is a great return. You're still sitting on roughly 14x your money. When we go and look at something like the short term, right, when we go to something like the daily candles, okay, in the short term, we are already breaking structure. We can see that we do have, let's just say, this swing low. We have this high. We have a higher high. But we can see in recent days, we created a lower high and we had this low. And now we pretty much are below it. So we are shifting structure, right? We can see we're staircasing downwards like this. So once again, the structure indicates that. Now we didn't break past this swing area. So in theory, of course, there's something that can happen like this, where we kind of go up one more final time, sweep certain areas, and then we dump off quickly. But the question is, what are you aiming for? Are you aiming for perfection? Are you aiming for the top of the top? Are you willing to take this risk? Because this is not guaranteed, right? Us creating a higher low over here, for example, to then try to go up higher and take out all these highs is not guaranteed just yet. This can still play out in, mid 2026, late 2026, next altcoin season, right? So you really have to be asking yourself those questions. Some of you guys may be new to the channel, but I have called out the ZBEC top it's all recorded, everything, right? We called out the ZBEC top in the private community, and then we talked about in the videos where we pretty much sold somewhere over here. We also did talk about the turbo tops multiple times. When we go to something like the daily candles, I'll show you exactly where I talked about it right here. Boom. I talked about it once. I talked about it again right over here, literally at the literal top. I talked about it. So, with reversals, I have pretty good understanding and knowledge. At the end of the day, like I said, you have to be making your own choice. You have to decide for yourself. But let me know what you guys think. I personally think Zcash is, objectively speaking, a fantastic crypto. But remember, no matter how fantastic the news is, no matter how much hype there is, at the end of the day, the markets will do what they have to do. And if most cryptos are going down a lot and 99% of the market is bearish, it's just a matter of time before it's Zcash's turn. That is all for me, though, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.